Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out.
From your neighbor to City Hall,
reach out, go vote, show out.
serving people is what it's all
Reach
about.
out, go vote, show out.
Frankfort Civic Proud.
Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out.
From Capitol Halls to Bourbon Balls, this is the City of Frankfort podcast for the Frankfortians. We're swapping stories, spilling the tea, and celebrating the quirks that make Kentucky's capital the best hometown around.
Welcome to the City of Frankfort podcast. I'm Sara.
And I'm Alex.
And today we have the honor of speaking with Kentucky's Lieutenant Governor and fellow Frankfortian, Jacqueline Coleman. As we celebrate International Women's Day, we'll be talking about women in leadership and why it's so important to support and uplift women at every stage of their journey. Lieutenant Governor Coleman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you all so much for having me.
So we're gonna kick it off with your story. How did you get in this public role? Did you know you were gonna do this from the beginning, this leadership role, or was there something that pushed you? Was there a moment that you wanted to get in this role?
I would say, like, if you ask people like I went to college with, they would say, oh, we always knew you were going to do this.
Really?
I never knew I was going to do this, but apparently other people did. But one of my favorite stories is how this whole thing started. And what pushed me to get involved was, if you remember back several years ago, which most folks in Frankfort will, the pension crisis. And when all of the teachers, state employees, all of those folks, we were scared about what the last administration was going to do to the pensions that we had paid for, that we were always on time for. And so I got involved in that teacher movement. I was one of the ones that organized the day where 12,000 teachers in red t-shirts showed up to Frankfurt.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that was a pivotal moment for me. And I had known the governor just in small circles, right, in Kentucky. And so one day he called me and he said, hey, are you coming to the Capitol today? If you are, let's grab a cup of coffee. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to be there today, but I'll let you know when I am. And that was kind of a normal thing. But then he called again the next day. Hey, are you coming to Frankfurt today? Do you want to get a cup of coffee? And I was like, what does he want? It's kind of. And so when we scheduled this meeting, I had to schedule it and wait until the last bus left the parking lot because I was an assistant principal on bus duty.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a true story. And so when I get there, he starts to tell me like why he's going to run. And I'm like, that's expected. But then he says, and the first decision I have to make is who I want my running mate to be. And my mouth dropped. And he was like, did you not think that's what we were going to talk about? I said, Andy, I was just at bus duty. No, I did not think that this is what we were going to talk about.
Why would that cross your mind? Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
that's
love that
awesome.
story. That's so cool.
That's really cool. So, being a woman in leadership has its ups and downs, obviously. What are some of the challenges you faced, or maybe some unexpected joys?
Yeah. So I'll start with the challenges first. So in our, I think the challenges that women face in leadership roles today are not as overt maybe as they were in the past, but they're still there.
Mhm.
And so you have to figure out how you're going to deal with them when they come. And I'll quote the governor. He always says, Jacqueline, you can't swing at every pitch. And I'm like, I know. But
Good advice.
But I
You
want
want
to.
to, yeah.
But I want to. So in our very first press conference, when we announced we were running, he was the attorney general. No one knew who I was, or like, who is this teacher that is running for lieutenant governor? And so we did our very first press junket where every camera in Kentucky is there. And the first question asked to him is, what do you hope to accomplish as governor? And the first question that was asked to me was, what makes you qualified to be lieutenant governor?
Yeah.
And I had to sit there for a second and I thought, how am I going to deal with this? And I just looked at him and I said, well, why didn't you ask him that? And they all just kind of started laughing. And then the guy realized what he'd done. And so I don't think it was intentional.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it certainly wasn't overt, but there was something there that I thought, I can't let that one go. I
that's fair.
try to deal with it when I know it's not intentional, with humor and kind of, maybe make a joke out of it and kind of roll on with it. That's usually what I try to do with those challenges. I think though the unexpected joy I have always had is I've never lost the feeling of awe when I walk in the Capitol. Every
Aw,
morning.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Every morning, no matter what's going on, and we've had some challenges, obviously, in our terms. They swing that door open, and I just get this feeling like I can't believe I work here. I can't believe I get to do this, and it's never left me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really very special. And
Yeah.
I would say I mirror your sentiment that overall, being a woman in leadership, I feel like I'm always generally very supported. And that although we've all experienced those, like your example there, we've all had those kind of experiences, I do feel like it's gotten a little less kind of in your face over time.
Prove
and,
yourself.
and I like that.
Yeah.
It
I
feels
loved your
good.
answer. That was a good answer.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, representation matters. And I was excited to get to interview you because I have 2 daughters. Harper's 10 and Finley's 5. Harper is really into this stuff. She loves you guys. She keeps up with you. So how do you feel? I know Harper brought to my attention, she mentioned one time that she loves that women can do anything a guy can do, but they also can be a mom and have babies. And I was like, I'm glad that you realize that. That's a really good thing. And so she's seen you before in this leadership role, but also take your daughter to school, things like that.
Yeah.
So she really thinks you're cool. So what do you feel like?
Like a superhero.
What do you think Kentucky girls think seeing you in this leadership role? You know?
Yeah. First of all, those are cute names.
Thank
I love
you.
that. Those-
Thank you.
Harper and Finley.
Harper and Finley, they're my babies.
Yeah, and like I still am in awe of like Martha Lane Collins, right? I mean, I remember the first time I met her. I was a little girl in elementary school, and even just to like get to have a conversation with her or to be around her, I was just like always awestruck. And it's still weird to me to know that little girls feel that way about me.
They do.
Right. I like, and so first of all, it's such an honor, and it's like I'm going to tear up over it, but like, it's so important in these roles to do a couple things. One is you have to remember the shoulders you're standing on, because if Martha Lane Collins hadn't have blazed that trail, I wouldn't be here. If Crit Llewellyn hadn't have been, such an amazing leader, another Frankfortian,
Yeah.
hadn't been such an amazing leader, somebody like me may have not gotten the chance. And so I remember the shoulders I stand on, but I also I try to be very cognizant of the little girls and the example that they need and deserve, and also little boys, but little girls they hit me a little different.
Right.
It's because I remember what I felt like.
Sure.
And still feel like, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't think and I don't think we give them enough credit. Like I say, she's 10, but she, without me telling her, realized, like seeing you and learning about you, she realized how cool it was that you were in this leadership role and all the things that you did. So I think there's a lot of little girls out there. You're probably like blazing a trail for them. They know that they can do great things.
It's like it's such an honor and it's such a huge responsibility. So I try to remember, both of those things.
Yeah, that's great. So support and mentorship, obviously very critical for growth. Tell us about some women who supported you or mentored you, and how can a community like Frankfort do the same for their future generations of women?
Yeah, every time I have taken a chance and either moved into a leadership position, so if I went from being a teacher to an assistant principal, if I went from being assistant basketball coach to the head basketball coach, when I went to being lieutenant governor, every time I did something like that, and it could be something as simple as like I picked up tennis when I stopped coaching basketball because another woman encouraged me to. I started my doctorate because, and every one of those times, it's because another woman encouraged me and said, you should do this. You're good. You're good enough. You'd be perfect for this. And without those other women saying those things, I may not have ever, started my doctorate or become an assistant principal. And I'm not even sure those things were on my radar until someone said it to me. But I've always been very thankful for the strong women that I've worked with, that I've surrounded myself with, because without them I wouldn't have ever had the nerve, the guts to probably step out of my comfort zone. And so it's the everyday things, the everyday relationships with your colleagues and certainly your friends and the people you surround yourself with. I think that's made such a big difference.
Like that.
I would totally agree. I think I love my job and I do better and strive because of the women I work around. I genuinely feel like the women and Sara and the women that I get to work with really push me to do more and, not kind of stay stagnant. Like I want to excel and I want to do better for them. So
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, here in Frankfort, we have lots of women in like city government, schools, and nonprofit and leadership roles. From your perspective, what difference do you think it makes, like in decision making, when women are the ones making the decision? Do you think it's a different kind of mindset?
Oh yeah. First of all, you can't be what you can't see, right? And so to have women leading at the local and the state level is important for this community, and the little girls and as well as the ones who are, maybe a little bit older and trying to make some career decisions. But I think it changes the conversation. I think it changes the tone, and in all of those things in a better way, right? To me, it elevates everything, and I think when you have women at the table, you bring a different perspective, maybe a more personal and empathetic view on issues, and that's important. I was a teacher before, a very female dominated field, and when we're in these roles and we're talking about the state budget and education and the challenges that we face, I don't see a spreadsheet or data. I can tell you the name of the family that had the challenge that we're trying to fix at the state level. And so it's always personal to me, and it matters. It's not just a decision you sign off on and move on to the next one. And so I think women bring that to the table a lot more often and give it that personal, empathetic understanding that we wouldn't have had otherwise.
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So International Women's Day is all about imagining a more equal future, right? So what are some small steps you think communities like ours can take to make sure that women and girls have these opportunities?
I'm reminded that Aaron Thompson he's the head of the Council on Post-Secondary Education. So he oversees all of the colleges and universities in Kentucky that are public. And he has a saying. He says, an opportunity is not an opportunity if you don't know about it. And it's just so true when you think about resources and services and leadership opportunities. If a community, if the kids in the community, if the families don't know about it, then it's not an opportunity for them. And so something as simple as, connecting the dots, communicating, the opportunities that are out there. And you can't communicate enough, because trying to cut through all the noise of, the news and social media and all of that kind of stuff, sometimes things get drowned out. But I think honestly, lifting up the programs that you have, the opportunities that you have, and making sure that every school, every family, every church, every nonprofit organization knows about it. There's a lot of power in that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, just get the good word out there.
Yeah. Exactly. What advice would you have for young women in Frankfort or across Kentucky that want to get in a leadership role, whether it's public service or anywhere?
Yeah.
What's your advice for them?
I would always say there's three things. You have to find your passion, you have to get involved, and then take the lead. Right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's passion is different.
Yes.
And it can and should be. When you get involved in an organization that helps to lift up your passion, you get to do what you love, you get to learn, you get to meet new people who share that passion. And so often as girls, as women, we don't take that last step because you're passionate, you are involved, you're engaged. Now it's time to take the lead, right? And so you've done the work, step out and take the lead.
Commit to finishing.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you so much for, your leadership, your support with the community in Frankfort and Kentucky. Let's get to a fun part. So we do some rapid fire questions.
My favorite part.
Since you're a Frankfortian,
Yes.
we like to end the show with Frankfort's rapid fire. So we want to hear from you, your take on some of your favorite things. So we're just going to go back and forth and ask you questions. You don't have to give us an explanation. Just tell us what you think. Okay.
So it pops into
Ready?
your mind.
Let's go. Your favorite Frankfort landmark?
Is it too soon to say Target?
No. Never. Never too soon for that.
That's a
I
great
love
one.
that.
We all agree.
I can't really argue with that one.
On a serious note, though, I would say the old governor's mansion or the lieutenant governor's mansion.
Yeah.
It's
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It really is.
I do love that place.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna love Target also.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good one.
How about your favorite coffee shop and coffee order?
okay. So I have a very simple coffee order. But I would say Coffee Tree.
Okay.
It's right there. It's
Yeah,
just,
it's
it's kind
close.
of, we do a lot of meetings there. And so I just feel like I know the people that work there now, and it's nice. But my coffee order is very simple. Coffee with a little bit of either like cream or almond milk. I'm not really picky about that. And a little vanilla. That's
Okay.
it.
Is that it?
That's it.
Keep it
Wow.
simple.
Yeah.
That's good.
I love it.
Favorite Frankfort event? I bet you have a lot of events across the state you have to go to. What's your favorite Frankfort
We
one?
do. Well, I have to say the inauguration.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
That is a gauntlet
Yeah.
of events that go on. But I think the inauguration it's a great event.
That's special. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. This is perhaps the most important question. East Side or West Side Kroger?
I'm on the east side.
You sure are.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my
Yeah.
Kroger.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yes.
Yay, we're all East Side Kroger.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Okay, last one.
Okay.
On Saturday morning in Frankfort, what can we find you doing? Where are you?
Probably with Evelyn at the farmers market. I
Awesome.
like it there. I really like it.
Yeah.
Really like it there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
good, peaceful, calm Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you for joining us this week, fellow Frankfortians. We'll catch up again next week on the City of Frankfort podcast. Don't forget to follow the City of Frankfort on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and make sure you subscribe to our show wherever you get your pod feeds.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank
This was
you.
fun.
Great.